He thought it was just a regular morning until he opened the door, and there she was, wearing nothing but his shirt, staring back at him with eyes full of secrets, chaos, and something dangerously close to love. It all started on a rainy Sunday morning, the kind where the city felt heavy and wet, yet strangely intimate, like a secret only a few could understand. I had just woken up, rubbing my eyes and wishing for a quiet day, when I heard a soft knock on my apartment door. Normally, I would have ignored it, but something inside nudged me to respond. Opening the door, I froze. There she was, drenched from the rain, hair clinging to her face, and all she wore was my oversized white shirt. The way it hung loosely on her, slipping slightly off her shoulder, made my chest tighten in ways I didn't understand. Her eyes met mine, wide with embarrassment yet unafraid, and my mind went blank. For a moment, I couldn't even speak, the sound of rain outside blending with the pounding of my own heart. She stepped inside without asking, dripping on my wooden floor, and muttered something about needing a place to dry off. There was a strange familiarity about her, a sense that I should have known her, but my mind insisted I didn't. Her vulnerability tugged at me, but so did an undeniable spark of something more, something forbidden and thrilling. She sat on my couch, hugging the shirt close to herself, and I realized I had no idea who she really was, or what she wanted from me. Yet, in that instant, I felt a pull I couldn't ignore, a magnetic force drawing her closer to my life, my world, and maybe, whether I wanted it or not, my heart. The silence between us was thick, almost tangible, broken only by the patter of rain against the windows. I offered her a towel, awkwardly fumbling, and she laughed softly, a sound that made something inside me ache. "Thanks. I didn't expect to just show up like this," she said, her voice hesitant, unsure. I nodded, unsure what to say, and she took that as permission to curl up on the couch. Her eyes scanned my apartment, lingering on the shelves of books, the framed photos, the little details that spoke of a life I thought I had built alone. There was a confidence in her, subtle yet undeniable, mixed with a fragile vulnerability that made me want to protect her, even though I barely knew her. I poured us both coffee, the aroma filling the room, and she smiled, a small, shy thing that made the corner of her lips twitch like a secret waiting to be told. We didn't speak much, but the air was charged, every glance, every movement weighted with tension. I tried to remember if we had met before, but my mind drew a blank. There was something in the way she looked at me, like she was trying to see through the walls I had carefully built around myself, and I realized then that my quiet, solitary life was about to change in ways I couldn't predict. Hours passed, and the rain turned into a drizzle, leaving the world outside sparkling and wet. She finally spoke about herself in fragmented sentences, revealing bits of a life that seemed both ordinary and chaotic. She wasn't from here, had no family in the city, and seemed to be running from something she wouldn't name. Her honesty was disarming, and for the first time in years, I found myself telling her things I had never shared with anyone, the fears, the regrets, the quiet heartbreaks I had hidden behind my routine. The shirt she wore, mine, somehow felt symbolic of the way she had entered my life without permission but with perfect timing. I watched the sunlight glint off her wet hair, and something deep inside me shifted. This wasn't just a fleeting encounter, it was the start of something dangerously real, something that would challenge every boundary I had set for myself. And yet, beneath the attraction, there was an undercurrent of sadness, a story she wasn't ready to tell, and I felt compelled to find out, even if it meant risking everything. By evening, we had moved to the kitchen, cooking dinner together in a dance of awkward movements and stolen glances. She laughed at my clumsy chopping, and I teased her about using too much salt, and yet, each moment felt like a lifetime compressed into a single, electric heartbeat. There was intimacy in the mundane, a connection that required no words but said everything. At some point, she reached for my hand, brushing it lightly against hers, and I felt a shock ripple through me, my body responding to something I didn't want to admit. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I could see both curiosity and caution in her eyes. I wanted to tell her that she could stay, that this moment didn't have to end, that my life could expand to make room for her, but the fear of the unknown held me back. And yet, I knew this was not a chance encounter. This was a collision of two worlds, two lives, that were meant to intertwine, whether we were ready or not. Night fell, and we ended up on the couch again, this time closer than before. The air was thick with unspoken words, with desires neither of us dared to voice. Her head rested against my shoulder, and I could feel her warmth, her breath, the subtle scent of her hair mingling with the faint aroma of rain still clinging to her. My heart was a drumbeat in my chest, each beat echoing the truth I was afraid to admit. I was falling for her, hard and fast, and there was no way to stop it. We spoke in whispers, sharing fears, confessions, fragments of dreams, and secrets. I learned that she had been running from a past that haunted her, and yet, there was hope in her eyes, hope that maybe here, in this tiny apartment, she could find something real, something safe. I wanted to promise her the world, even though I had only just met her, and in that fragile, intimate moment, I realized that love wasn't something you calculated, it was something you surrendered to, without guarantee, without restraint. The next morning, the city was bathed in golden sunlight, and we found ourselves in an easy rhythm, cooking breakfast, talking, laughing. There was an unspoken agreement that neither of us would rush, that this connection was precious and fragile, meant to be nurtured, not forced. Her shirt, mine, still hung loosely on her, and every glance I stole felt like stealing a piece of her soul. We ventured out together, walking through the streets, the world outside buzzing with life while we existed in a bubble of shared glances and fleeting touches. People passed by, oblivious to the storm of emotions in our little universe, and I realized that life had a funny way of surprising you when you least expected it. She was a mystery, a challenge, a temptation, and a promise all at once. And I knew that no matter what happened, my life would never be the same. Days turned into weeks, and the connection we shared grew stronger, more intense, impossible to ignore. We navigated the complexities of trust, of vulnerability, of learning each other's boundaries and breaking them gently. There were moments of tension, moments of laughter, moments where silence said more than words ever could. She had become a part of my life, inescapable and essential, and I felt the impossible truth settling in. Love wasn't about ownership or timing, it was about presence, about showing up, even when the world outside was chaotic. That shirt, once just a piece of clothing, had become a symbol of beginnings, of intimacy, of a life interrupted and transformed by someone who appeared unexpectedly and refused to leave. And as I looked at her, now fully integrated into my life, I knew that sometimes the most extraordinary love stories began with the simplest, most unplanned gestures, a knock on the door, a rainstorm, and a shirt that was meant to be worn by both hearts, not just one. If this story touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself, share it with someone who needs to feel the magic of unexpected love. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that remind us that sometimes, the smallest moments can change our lives forever.